It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. So we got cut off last night. We're going to continue with that same topic. That there are many who claim to be workers for Christ. There are many who claim to do many marvelous works in the name of Christ. Is it not written? So now, you few who are left on the earth, who are true elect, who are your greatest enemies, and where will they come from? Now, as the elect, spend a lot of time worried about those people in the world and how they treating you, what they doing, how they're working against you, how frustrating what they're doing is to you. But do you know where your greatest enemy will come from and where he is? Because if you don't know, then how can you fight properly? How can you do this warfare that he says you're going to do? How can you do it if you don't know where the attack is coming from? Well, what did he say? First of all, he said your enemies will be they of your own household. You see, like his were. He came unto his own, and his own knew him not. So it's your own. And not only is it that, but it's the people who claim to believe what you say you believe. Who claim to believe what you believe. It's those people. Those people that claim to be righteous. Those people that claim to know the Father. Those people that say, we've done many mighty works in your name. We've cast out devils in your name. Those are your worst enemy. Didn't Christ say, I don't know you? So that means their whole life is hypocrisy. Their whole life is a lie, then, isn't it? Isn't that what that means? Your whole life is a lie if you're doing something for somebody that don't even know you, that will never acknowledge your work. You have a vain existence then, don't you? Now think about that. The one that you serve, your enemies are the ones that say they serve him. Not the ones that say they don't. Those are obvious enemies. It's easy to fight an enemy who makes himself obvious. You're on the battlefield with your men and you marching and y'all are walking. And then across the area over there, you see another group of soldiers that are not part of your army. And they start firing at you saying, yeah, I'm your enemy. I'm trying to kill you, man. I'm trying to kill you. Well, you know that you need to engage and take that enemy out. He's made himself obvious. But what about that infiltrator? What about that enemy that comes on your side with your kind of uniform on saying, I fight for the same cause you do? Christ said, if he be not against me, he is for me. So then, what about the ones that have slipped in making it look like they for him? They really against him. They're really fighting against him, saying that they're fighting for him. Because he said, I don't know you. I never did. I never chose you. See why I be holding these people accountable? It shouldn't be surprising what I'm doing if you love Christ. It should be very obvious what the grandson of Right Thought is here to do. To weed them out, to judge righteous judgment, to no longer judge by the seeing of the eyes or the hearing of the ears, but to judge righteously and to judge with fairness. So you see how he says, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. And then it says his chosen branch will not judge like the way the world judges, but he's going to judge the way God judges. Why? Because you can't see the lie until the truth comes to expose the lie. What did Christ say? Until I come and spoken to them, they had no sin. They had a cloak for it. It was covered up. But now that I've spoken to y'all, you ain't got no cloak. I've exposed it. I've exposed your hypocrisy. I've exposed your lies. I exposed that you weren't telling the truth about what you were actually saying you was doing. Just like these chosen today are doing. Many of them just are trying to get clicks on a YouTube video. Many of them post their video in a way to try to draw your attention to it so that you can give them likes and their numbers can go up. That's why they're always saying it to you. Like, subscribe, and share. Like and subscribe and share and like. How many prophets of old did you hear say things like that? How many prophets of old did you see advertise themselves? For gain, for money. See, that's why the word prophet sounds so much like the word prophet, if you follow what I'm saying. That's why the word prophet sounds so much like the word prophet, because there are prophets who are going around acting like they're prophets, if you understand what I'm saying. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They do everything to be seen of men. So if you do everything to be seen of men, then you do everything for those people who judge outward appearance then, correct? See how it's going? So if you've been spending your whole life doing stuff so that people will judge you by what they see, then you will be shocked when someone comes along who doesn't judge like that. And that's what the branch is here to do. To not judge you based on what he sees, but to judge righteous judgment, the heart and the reins of you. You have sheep wool on. Okay, what's underneath that sheep wool? Let's pull it back and see. See, because real sheep can be sheared and their wool will grow back. That skin that's on that wolf is not connected to his body. You pull it off, it ain't gonna grow back because it's an illusion. It's a prophet and not a prophet. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all hold on 1 minute. A prophet and not a prophet. Because everything that they're doing is so that they may make a profit. That's how you know the real from the fake. Not how they dress, not how they sound when they talk. That ain't it. It's what they do. And all you have to do is take the words of Christ and line them up with this person's life and see if it matches. See if they're doing what Christ commanded them to do. If they're not, then they not true. And he don't know them. See, because a child has a father. When he comes into this world, that's his world, the world of his father. Okay? The child grows up in that world, which means he's led by his father's teachings, is led by his father's ideals, and what his father believes to go into that child's life, and his child submits to that. Even though he lives in a world of many other people, many other houses with many other different rules, he adheres to his father's rules, and that proves who his father is. Well, the same thing goes with us here. You're proving who your father is by whose rules you listen to. My sheep know my voice. See? That child knows their father's voice. It doesn't matter if he's at a concert. He could be in the mosh pit of a concert going crazy. And as soon as he hears dad call his name, he's turning around like, oh shit, because he knows his father's voice. And the same thing goes with the truth. Many people are saying Christ, 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 because you, as an immature sheep, haven't learned to discern what you're looking at because you judge an outward appearance. That's the problem. Ain't that what Christ told you to beware of? Men that do things outwardly, they're whited sepulcher. You know what a whited sepulcher is? A whited sepulcher is a coffin, beautiful on the outside. And he says that. They clean the outside of the cup, but the inside is full of all kind of excess and dead men's bones. Ain't that what you heard? Ain't that what you heard? So then he's constantly, if you're paying attention, Christ is constantly giving you that warning. He's constantly giving you that warning of people who are dressing the outside up. So then if you were his child, then you listen to that. You wouldn't have to worry about when people come to your life and what they're trying to do to you and how they're trying to take an advantage. All you looking at is who's their father. And I know them by their fruits, by what they do. If you don't keep the commandments, then you're not his, even though you say you is his. And then you got some that say, I do keep the commandments. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. The ones that are talking about I do keep the commandments. And how do I know this? Because I read it. That's how I know. And if you had read it, you'd know. You'd be like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. They're saying they know him. They're saying they keep his commandments. How do I know? Because a man came to Christ one time and says, what should I do to inherit the kingdom of heaven? And Christ said, keep the commandments. See? Keep the commandments. And the guy said, I have been keeping the commandments. I do keep them. And Christ says, okay, take all your wealth, sell it to the poor, and come follow me. So if he said that to him, then he says that to everybody else. So when a nigga have a hard time letting go of his riches, but he say he keep the commandments, then he's lying. Because he doesn't discern the law. He doesn't know how to fulfill the law. He may know it, and he may think he's keeping it, but he don't know how to actually do it. And if you had read Paul and understood, oh, thanks. Thank you. Excuse me. Hold on, y'all. So do y'all understand that? That Christ was making it clear what to watch out for? There's people that look like they're doing the right thing, like that young man, that young rich man did. He was even bragging about it. I've been doing this since my youth up, man. I've been doing this stuff. Okay, well, let's prove that you've been doing it and give your goods away to the poor. And what did that man do? He went away sorrowful. Sorrowful. So when he left, was he happy and excited when he left? Why did he leave sorrowful? Why do you think? Maybe he realized he was lying. Maybe he realized he was a hypocrite. Maybe he realized he wasn't as good as he thought he was. Humans have to be very careful saying something is good when they didn't create it. If you didn't create something, you should probably ask the creator if it's good or not. But when you lean onto your own understanding that the scripture says you shouldn't do, when you do that, you end up making the wrong decision about what's good. You think you know what's good. And it's always what looks good is what you think is good. The path that looks good, that's what you take. The food that looks good, that's what you eat. The woman that looks good, that's who you marry. The job that looks good, that's what you take. You take whatever look good. Well, that ain't judging the way God judges. And so that's why Christ had to expose that by exposing that young man's intention of his heart. You say you serve God and keep his commandments, but you're selfish. Is love selfish? Well, no. Well, then you haven't discerned that that's how you fulfill the law, is by loving. You still don't know that. You think you're doing the commandments, but you're not actually doing anything because you're not loving. And if you're not loving and have not loved, then you are nothing. You ain't doing anything if you ain't doing nothing with love. Everything you do must be done with love, or you're not keeping no commandments, because his commandment is, behold, I give unto you a what commandment? See, you see this? There would be no room or no need for the new if the old was sufficient. But y'all don't want to hear that. And all these over-righteous, overzealous Israelites think that they're keeping the law of God, and they're not fulfilling a damn thing because they have not love. And if you have not love, then you have nothing and you are nothing. Just like that man found out. I'm keeping God's commandments. Well, how are you keeping God's commandments, but you can't give your goods to the poor? What's keeping you from giving your goods to the poor? Selfishness is. So then you're not following God. God is love. The hell y'all talking about? God is love. But you see it. You see many over-righteous people attacking the elect. Why? Because that's who attacked Christ. If you knew that, if you only knew that, that's who's attacking Christ. That's who's asking for his death, are the over-righteous. That's who's calling for his death. The chief men, the elders. Isn't that what it says? That he was rejected by them? People that's supposed to know the truth. He came into his own knew him not. They didn't know the truth. They think they know it. They don't know it. They don't know where it says, I give you a new. And if there had been no need for the new, then the old wouldn't have passed away. That's scripture. But it did pass away and made room for the new, which is what Christ was telling that young man. Okay, you've been keeping the old law. Now I have a New Testament written in my blood. Can you keep that commandment? And you see people mocking it. So you're saying you only have 2 commandments? Well, I got 600 and something commandments. That's way harder to keep than those 2. Those 2 ain't nothing. Okay, well then keep them then, if they ain't nothing. He said my burden is easy. Shouldn't it be? Shouldn't you be able to see the proof that it's easy? So like you saying, if it's 600 and something laws and Christ magnified them down to 2, then his words are true when he said, I came to give you rest from your labor. Those who are heavy laden with those 600 commandments, trying to keep them. You guys who are struggling, feeling like you're falling short, feeling like you can't do it, I'll help you do it by giving you a new commandment. Ain't that what he said? And what was that new commandment? Because it ain't a hard one. What was the new commandment? That you love each other as I have loved you. That's what the rule is for everybody. Why y'all want to try to confuse it and make it hard and heavy laden? It ain't heavy laden. It's easy and light. Love people the way Christ loved us and gave himself for us. That's how you should love each other. So if you ain't doing that, then you ain't keeping no commandments. I don't give a damn what you say you're doing. It's Shabbat. I'm doing this. It's this day, high holy day. I'm doing this today to prepare. I'm wearing my special clothes I'm supposed to wear. I'm doing this and doing that and doing this. I'm doing that. You ain't doing shit if you ain't loving. You ain't shit if you ain't loving. Just like that young man found out when he went away sorrowful because he couldn't admit that he should do that. He couldn't just be real. He couldn't admit that to himself. I should be doing that. I should be able to give my goods away to the poor since I'm very rich, but I can't do that. And so it is today. Like I've been telling you, with all of these so-called righteous today stacking up money but ain't doing nothing that they're supposed to do with it. They don't have all things in common, even among their own group of men. You can go to any group, any church, any society, any organization today, I don't give a damn what it is, and they will be unequally yoked with one another. They will not have all things in common, and that is how you know Christ ain't leading that church, that flock, that group, that camp, that whatever you want to call it. He ain't leading it. He ain't part of it. He don't know them. They don't know him. He ain't none of his. But y'all want to be a part of something so bad so you look like something. You want to put something on your body so bad so you look like something and you appear like something. What did Christ say? They do everything to appear righteous unto men. The fuck cares if a man think you righteous? Why does that matter to you? Why do you think that's beneficial for a man to say, oh, you're righteous? What does that count for anything? What's that gonna pay me? Am I gonna get into the kingdom because a man said I was righteous? Or because the Father has counted me so? He has found me worthy. And what do y'all think is gonna make a man worthy to enter into that kingdom? His dress, his attire, his money, his status? You think that's what's gonna get him in the door? Or do you think it's how he loved? And if he loved? Which one do y'all think? That's why they don't want me around. That's why they don't want me talking. That's why ain't nobody following. That's why ain't nobody subscribing. That's why ain't nobody sticking to this truth. Because there are few who will find the way. There's only a few of y'all who will say, I'm loving today. I let go of everything else because that's what the pearl of great price will do for you. Read your Bible and see. Once you find it, you sell everything else, which means all the information you thought that was going to make you righteous, you found out loving would make you righteous. So you sold everything else in your life and you started to love people, man. It's that simple. It ain't hard. It ain't a struggle or none of that shit, but y'all want to make it hard. Christ never said it was hard. He said it was easy, nigga. Niggas want to come lying trying to put burdens on yourself that they won't lift one hand to carry it. They won't do that shit themselves, but they'll require it at your hand for you to do it. Hypocrisy at its finest. Now, did Christ call people hypocrites? The same people that wanted to stone him, the same people that said crucify him, the same people that said kill him, the same people that bear false witness on him and lied on him, same ones. The same ones that thought they were right with God. They thought they were doing God a service by hanging him up there. Yeah, you're doing the Father a service by hanging his son. That's how you show God you love him. Hope y'all follow that message today. And you're able to use your discernment today to look on the inside of the cup before you drink from it. Stop looking at the outside and being so enamored with how it look on the outside, because you ain't gonna find what you're looking for. So don't want to miss out. All right.